Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Bottom Line. I'm your host, Lauren Khalil. Our show is brought to you by Vuori. I have an unhealthy amount of joggers, but Vuori's performance joggers, they take the cake as the softest, most comfortable pants that I own. Check out the description below for 20% off of your first purchase. On today's episode, we have Chase Ingraham and Adrian Conway back here taking a look at the men's field. We're looking beyond the podium for their picks 4 through 10. Were these more difficult than the podium picks, or was it a little bit easier to get 4 through 10?
Yes. I have to keep a trash can next to my 4 through 10 list because might be where they go come August. Who knows?
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. I think that this was, again, a very hard list to make. 1 through 3 was a little bit more of a guarantee for me in regards to the confidence I could share them with. 4 through 10 is tough. And there's so many factors that go into these choices, like experience and, well, if the program shakes this way for certain people, I want to put them in front of others. Oh man, so many factors to consider. So yeah, it was tough.
Okay, so it is fascinating because when we did the podium picks 1 through 3, your second person was different, but 1 and 3 were the same. When we're looking at 4 through 10, there is no crossover for any of your rankings. I don't think I've ever seen that.
I don't know what Adrian picked, so.
Hey, it's good TV. That's what that means. We're coming with the good show. This is it.
We're coming with the good show because there is a couple of crossovers with names. So we'll start specifically with that. Okay. Chase, you put Ricky Garard as 6th. Adrian, you put him at 5th. Do you guys think that since this is his first year back at the games in a couple of years that he is somebody that is going to creep close to the podium?
Yeah, in my opinion, for sure. Again, here's what I take from this. We know that Ricky was on some illegal substances the first time that we saw him back in 2017, but I was there in person. And what I saw, aside from physical capacity, there was a psychological ability to compete that I haven't really seen in many athletes in the CrossFit space, specifically rookies. So for me, when I think that whatever has changed from his supplementation and nutrition, and now he's got his ducks in a row, he's a clean athlete, I feel as though he's got just a strong ability to make a push at the podium this year. With him coming back with a big chip on his shoulder, one, because he should feel like he has a lot to prove because he does. And then, of course, with more experience and a bit more maturity.
For me is I know Adrian had him in 5th and I have him in 6th. I actually think I have him in a lower position relative to what I think he's actually capable of. Just like Adrian is saying, is like, I think he's actually capable. Like Ricky is a podium threat. Yep. I really do think he is. However, the unknowns now is like, we've seen him in live competition and nerves has got the best of him early on in a competition, right? And so now you're back on the stage. Like Ricky's been waiting for this moment for over 4 years to get back into this position, and now he's there. So a lot of the things I looked at with these picks really had little to do with stats or head or heart. I just did a lot of gut picks, whether that it was a gutsy call or I just went with my gut itself. And Ricky being in 6th, I think it's almost a product of, I'm wondering how he's going to handle the stage. But, say this is a year later, I would have no problem putting him in top 5 or even possibly top 3. So I think I actually put him low on purpose.
Interesting. So some of the other crossovers you guys had, Chase, you had BKG in 4th. Adrian, you had him in 7th. Chase, you had Jeff Adler in 5th. But Adrian, you had him all the way down in 9th, especially after a first place finish at the Atlas games. Why do you think that he's at the bottom half of the top 10?
It's no particular thing about Jeff or about his progress or about anything that I've seen from him so far. I think that what he showed at the semifinal level there at Atlas games, which I got to see firsthand, was extremely impressive. And a lot of it is more, like Chase said, a gut feeling of what I feel about being there present in Madison, the temperature, the programming, the outside venue versus inside, the incorporation of less barbells and more odd objects, the incorporation of more aerobically tested events, and then, of course, the ability to put it all together. So it's more about the field of men that he's competing directly against and less about the progress that I really believe that Jeff has made throughout the season. And it was just very hard for me to replace some of my top athletes that are ahead of him with his particular fitness and what I see if I could have that gut feeling in the future that'll come into existence. So that kind of explains his ninth place for me.
All right, Chase, I got two other athletes that I want to talk about in your
Ooh.
top 10 that do not appear in Adrian's top 10. You have Sam Quant in ninth and Lazar Jukic in 10th. Neither appear in Adrian's top 10. Tell me a little bit about why you decided to put them in there.
So for Jukic, I think he's the top 10 talent without a doubt. But they're still like 11 through 20, still all have the ability to be top 10 athletes. So I just want to I capped him at 10. I was like, you're going to be my gatekeeper to the top 10. I think he's a solid pick to be there. It was just where I was comfortable having him. I put Quan up in the top 10 because I'm tired of this dude making me look like an idiot because he constantly surprises me and I constantly underestimate him. It's almost like the Hulta effect in years past when you see you're on the women's side. So I legitimately forcefully put him in ninth just so he wouldn't make me look stupid later on by just like leaving his name off the table. So Quant to me was one of those gut picks of it wasn't really statistics. It wasn't really what I saw him do, but what he did to me at Granite Games. I'm like, son of a gun. And then he's just there. And we saw the same thing. Like, I know 2020 was a weird year, but like, I didn't peg him to be anywhere close to that. So if it's a healthy Quant, I'm just going to throw it out there as like my hot take gut pick. I'll put him in the top 10.
Fair. I like that. On the other side, Adrian, two athletes that didn't make Chase's top 10, but made yours were Yonakoski at 8th and Dallin Pepper in 10th. Tell me about those two athletes, why they made it into your top 10.
Yeah, well, Yona's just been around for a while, and he's been able to showcase his skill set and his well-roundedness for many years. And for me, it was understanding that he was less than optimal at the semifinal this year when he took the floor, and he really showed us that and put me on notice during the last chance qualifier. And when I think about an experienced athlete like himself peaking at the right time, and granted, going into the CrossFit Games healthy and a healthy form of himself, it makes me really believe that he's going to be a top 10 athlete almost no matter what the tests are. So he's one of those, for me, safe picks to fall somewhere in the top 10 due to the fact that it's very hard to come in and pick something that is going to be a really offset event for him in the field of 40 men that are going to show up there to compete. When it comes to a young Dallin Pepper, this is me really understanding that the kid's got all the things that I think I would look for in an athlete if I could go try to handpick someone. And I'm not even talking about physicality. I'm talking about mentally more than anything. And so when I think about him and the process that he's gone through in order to get to the level that he's done, it's been a pretty darn linear approach, right? He's won the CrossFit Games 3 times as a teen. He got really close last year to qualify. And then this year he punched his ticket, and he did it in a very confident way. And so it seems as though, from what I know about him, when he shows up, and again, all those same things that put Adler at a 9, for me, put Dallin in the top 10 because he's been in the heat of Madison. He knows what the floor feels like. He knows what it's like to be surrounded by a large and loud and aggressive crowd. He also knows what it's like not to lead for 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5 events, and to allow himself to let this competition take its toll or run its race, and for him to then wind up as one of the top competitors at the end of all that testing. So I really have a gut feeling that he's going to make a strong run at the Rookie of the Year position this year at the CrossFit Games.
All right, and then to go back to Chase's 4 through 10, they were BKG, Adler, Ricky Garard, Saxon, Guy, Quant, Lazar. Chase, what's your bottom line?
I'm putting my Adler pick out there in the top 5 because of what I saw him do confidence-wise with one sentence after he said that. He's like, I wanted to win. I won. And that's not something I've never seen from Adler. I like what he's done by retooling himself over 2 years. So Adler earned my top 5 nod. So that's my big hot take from that. But really, like, the bottom line here, is like we could have done 4 through 20 and said all of these athletes could have been in the top 10.
Mhm.
It's going to be a wild ride in Madison when it comes to the men's field.
And Adrian's 4 through 10, Patty V, Ricky Garard, Guy, BKG, Yonakoski, Jeff Adler, Dallin Pepper. What is your bottom line?
My bottom line is, where's Noah Olson? Where's Travis Mayer? Where are some of these vets that we can historically should be able to bank on and say, hey, they're top 10 athletes. And for me, it's a true ode to where our sport is and where the development of our sport can be. Like Chase alluded to earlier, our 11 through 20 could definitely smack us in the face and show up as podium finishers, let alone top 10 contenders. I'm super excited about the field of men that are showing up. I hope they show out, and I really hope what we see is the best of all these athletes, and I want them fighting tooth and nail to fight for these positions. And hey, if some of them prove us wrong, feel free, gentlemen, take the start line and use it as fuel. But we've been around for a little bit. I bet some of these picks will stick. We can make it happen.
I love it. I can't wait to see how both of these pan out. Chase, Adrian, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next time.